Sasa tuko seasons ya Valentine. Yani in 2 days nisipoona maua. Is it still healthy? Asipoleta maua. Do we still consider that one as healthy? Na maua ikikuja leo, kama maua inakujanga siku ingine, haitakuja siku ya Valentine.
Haitakuja siku ya Valentine.
So Valentine's is a day of lovers. Lovers in... Hebu tuanze hapo kwa love ni nini? Saseni mkofiti, manzeni mewa miss, manzeni mewa hata. Welcome back for Celes Reflection. Thank you for watching, thank you for commenting, thank you for subscribing. Tunasonga. Manze asanteni sana. Thank you so much for the engagement we had last week about finances. Naona tuko wengi tunalan, but don't worry guys. Kidogo kidogo, ukishajua kuclear debt yako, utasonga ufike kwa savings. Utajua kuhandle black tax. So usikuwe na pressure, pole pole. Bado mwaka ni mpya, don't have so much pressure on yourself. As long as umejua about good debt and bad debt, tunasonga. Progress over perfection. Today is 2 days to Valentine's. So today it's about love. We are talking about healthy relationships. I feel like tunajua about toxic ones. So today, can you talk about the healthy ones? And because when we see expert ikifika about healthy relationships, I have an expert. I have a guest with me today. I know many of you wanaweza kuwa namjua, you've seen him somewhere. So today we have Curtis. Kwani una blush?
Pressure.
Kwani una blush? Curtis is with me today. Mimi sasa leo ndo co-host wako.
Yeah.
Leo ni mimi, it's Celes and Curtis.
Yeah.
Yes guys. We are going to have a new YouTube channel. Yeah, welcome Curtis.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Hiyo part ya expert kidogo.
Wacha niseme experience. Mwenye akona experience in a healthy relationship. You better?
Yeah, we are heading there.
Yeah. It's always a journey, right?
Yeah, it's always a journey. But vile tu umesema, I'm very passionate about relationships and healthy ones. Just the way we mentioned. So I'm glad to be here. Thanks for this opportunity. Na najua the conversation is about to be a fire one.
Not really. I feel like, okay. Well, we're just going to tutaongea tu, discuss. How many years by then? Leona mlisema 8 ama 9 now?
Yeah, we're actually in the 9th year.
Meaning
we are turning 9 this year.
So your wedding was in 2016?
2016.
Akale uzito. Which month?
16th year.
August. Umetuacha na miezi 3 hivi. Sisi hapo December.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been a journey. How has it been?
It's been good. Highs and lows definitely.
Yeah.
I think attitude ndio ina matter. Because seasons are different. Some seasons are good, some seasons are tough. But kama kuna the right attitude na mindset, you know, you move with the flow.
Talking of seasons, sasa tuko seasons ya Valentine. Yani in 2 days nisipoona maua. Is it still healthy? Asipoleta maua. Do we still consider that one as healthy?
I believe there has to be some effort. At least to make effort, you know. So I don't want to excuse. I know you can create excuses and say, unajua sometimes watu wako busy, kazi imeshika nini, but if someone really matters to you, kuna hiyo effort tu utamake.
Na maua kama
so, lazima ukuwe na maua.
Na maua ikikuja leo, kama maua inakujanga siku ingine, haitakuja siku ya Valentine's.
Haitakuja siku ya Valentine's. So tunaweza sema hivi, kama itakuja mapema, ikwe ni kama una kionjo. Iletoe kama kionjo, but towards the actual day, there has to be something significant.
On the Valentine's Day.
But just as a caveat, imanishi ati maua isipokuja Valentine's upendwi. It's kuna reasons.
So Valentine's is a day of lovers. Lovers in... Hebu tuanze hapo kwa love ni nini? Tuanze hapo kwa love ndo tufike kwa lovers ndo tujue.
Wow, the definition of love.
Yeah, what is love?
Love it's one of those things because ukitry to define love, you find yourself defining the attributes. Huwezi define love as one thing. but tutapata ukisema love sacrifices, love is kind, love is this, so kuna hizo attributes we attribute to love. So but just to narrow it down, for me I would say one of the biggest indicators of love is that love is sacrifice. There's no way utapenda mtu but you don't sacrifice things for them. So kama unapenda mtu, you will sacrifice your time, your energy, you will sacrifice your work na ununue hizo maua siku ya Valentines. So
your case closed. You must sacrifice. Si lazima maua, but effort.
There has to be effort. There has to be effort.
Okay. Okay. And also maybe for those who can't, because kuna mse yako mbali, kuna mse wake yako far. Maybe ka text pia si kabaya, a phone call, right?
Yeah. Na siku hizi tuko na technology, so a video call would do. Just set aside an hour. Call that person, tell them nice things, you know.
So now that we're talking about healthy relationships today, because that one was just it's the season for love, what aspects, like some aspects that can tell this one is a healthy relationship? Because I feel like right now out there, we know of toxic ones. We know of a narcissist person. We know of this one is just using you. But sasa hapa kwa healthy, ni kama hatuna mwa Kenya. So what are some of those aspects of a healthy?
What we usually say is it's in the simple things, you know, and one of the factors is kama kitu ni healthy. We usually say that if something is alive, it's going to grow. You know, right now there are a lot of flowers they may not be able to see, but if you have a flower and that flower is really alive, it'll grow. Ukiweka kitu kwa mchanga saina and you water it nicely, it's going to grow because it's alive. But this microphone hatutakuja kesho tupate imekuwa refu because it's not a living thing. So the same perspective pia kwa relationship also matters. If a relationship is alive, lazima nyinyi wawili mgrow.
Awesome.
Mutagrow emotionally, mutagrow in how you handle things. You know, if you're handling things the same way you used to handle 2 years ago when you met, hakuja kuwa na growth. But if that relationship is alive and it is healthy, even I'm glad umeongea about finances when you're starting. Even your finances will change. You'll be more intentional in how you spend money, how you plan for it and all those things. So growth is a very big indicator for a healthy relationship.
I love that. So if you guys have been in the same, not necessarily, but it's something you can check on.
Yes.
You've been there the last 5 years, mko tu pale. Unaweza tu anza kukagua.
You need to start asking questions. Mbona hatusongi? Mbona hatukui? You know. And growth is not necessarily, because I think sometimes we can look so much on the physical aspect of it, but it's more on interpersonal things, psychologically, the way you process stuff, the way you handle conflict. Are you still as dramatic as you used to be when you met?
Packing and living every week.
Imeisha. There's a meme that was trending on social a few years ago. You know, that you can a relationship na mtu afu mnakosana anakuambia niue. You know, that's how you handle conflict. Niue. You know, so after a few years, are you still saying niue? Ama you're able to come down and say, okay, let's talk about this issue, you know?
I love that. I love that aspect. Another one, I feel like I didn't think about these questions when I was asking them, but the fact that you've mentioned growth, I see it. I like 100% za kwambia tu for real, growth should be one of the things.
Growth is a big one. It's actually one of the big ones.
Na hiyo story ya kupack. Tulikuwa tunapack wengi. Wiki za kwanza, suitcase iko standby. Mimi narudi kwetu.
I made a mistake, you know. So hizo ziko.
Something else.
So probably another aspect yenye unaweza angalia is how are your conversations? I remember tulikuwa tunaongea na, you know, my wife, she's in the background. Na alikuwa anasema one of the things ilikuwa inamboa akiwa kampo is the conversations she was having with her exes who were the boyfriend at the time. Ni vitu za si unakaa poa leo. And then 1 month later, si unakaa poa leo. Now, there's nothing wrong na kukaa poa, but if that's the only conversation you're having, honestly, you know, so there has to be some progressive, the conversation has to be progressive. Kuna siku za kukaa poa na kuna siku za tunajiona wapi in the next 10 years, you know, like talking about your future and aspirations, you know, what are the plans you have for the future.
Because that tells you this person is invested in this relationship. relationship for
nako
sure.
intentional.
Kabisa.
So they are not in the relationship to see if it's going to work. They are there to make sure it works. They are not our bahatishi.
So wanamwenye mnashindanga mkiuliza unakaa poa, that's something. Take that tip. Because I want to see this person akiongelelea. By the way unajua watu wanafaa kwenda tunataka watoto wangapi.
Exactly.
Hizo ndio vitu mimi sikukatiwa by the Curtis. Mimi nilizanga watoto wako unaweza penda wangapi. Of course umse kama anaona watoto. I mean ana watoto na pamoja. So I feel hiyo progression ya watoto wangapi unaweza wahitaje, unaweza penda how kama hii. You know?
Good. That's someone who's thinking ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I'm loving this conversation. At least I'm weighing my relationship.
Una introspect.
Naangalia tuko wapi. Let me ask you something. Sasa na mtandao kuna kwanga na pressure. Kwanza sasa Valentine's Friday. Ile pressure itakuwa. Usishtuke ukipata mimi nimekasirika juu sijapata maua. Friday kuna kwa na pressure. So there's this okay, I don't know whether it's me alone, but there's how we view couples online. So there's it's not out there, but kind of we feel like if you're not posting or if you're posting your partner, you're either in a healthy relationship or you're not. Like there's a way we can judge. Ajampost, amempost, ametoa picha zake, amemwanfollow. Can you tie that to being healthy? Am I not healthy?
Social media has complicated things. Actually, to kidate, we were posting ourselves a lot. Tulikuwa tunaweka picha mob. And then we got married. And then your period 2 ya kusettle in, we didn't post for a couple of months. And kuna mtu akakuja kwa comment akasema, nyi wase, mko poa ama mnaachana ama ni nini hatujaona post. And it made me really think, because it means tunaangalia vitu the wrong way. We think that because wameka kitu hapo, then something is happening. But how many times have we seen couples putting very beautiful posts of each other and then a couple of months unasikia, it's so unashindwa, was that a performance or what was going on? So essentially there's nothing wrong with posting, but that's not an indicator ati mko poa. That's just something we make up.
And also not posting is not an indicator that mko poa.
Exactly.
So hakuna
there's no connection.
Yeah.
There's no connection. Alafu unajua for some people it's also a personality thing. Some people are introverted. They just don't like their things out there. But they are very much in love, So wezi semati because they don't post wakona mashida. It's just probably who they are or maybe the season they are in, Actually some people also najua kuna watu they get into jobs and those jobs demand that they don't put themselves out there. They don't become public. So there are a lot of factors that determine whether someone has posted or not posted.
What was your factor?
So, for me, I think just getting caught up in life. Naona. Kuna job, watu ndio wamekam, you have all these things. Na unapata 2 months have gone hujapost.
Hatujapigwa picha.
Hamjapigwa picha. Na si ati mko mbaya, you're just caught up in a lot of doing life.
I tend to relate na hiyo because hata sisi kole. I mean, you're just the two of you. Tukipata na kuna selfie. Tukiona kuna kapicha. Sahi. Nimfike home ufanye ile homework ya CBC. Wewe mwingine like life is just moving on very fast. It's not like we are not in a healthy ama we are having an argument. Huyu akona life zake. Alafu sasa mimi simuoni kama I see this one as my partner. Simuoni kama mtu nafani post ya wase waone my partner. So life is just happening. Si ati kuna kitu ama hakuna kitu. Just that social media imefanya tu vitu again. Zikakuwa
actually even now that you mention it, I think there's a problem if you feel like you have to post.
Thank you.
If you feel like you owe people a post, I think there's a problem.
That was my next thing. Because now there's this thing for birthdays, Valentine's. Like they expect you to post her square Valentine's. Does that, what is, like, when did we get here?
Why must people
like
know?
You umemletea maua, but there's a need for her to show guys that you know what. By then ilipata maua. Is that healthy?
I don't think it's healthy, honestly.
Exactly.
I think, vile tumesema before, there's nothing wrong with, this is someone you really love, you want to appreciate them.
Yes.
But ikifika point ni lazima watu wajue. Sasa hapo kuna shida.
Kuna kitu unangangana nayo ndani yako.
Hapo kuna shida. I think there's some insecurity and probably you're trying to mark your territory to whoever is out there who has been thinking,
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think it should not be like it's a demand, it has to happen. Actually, there's a time I was saying, kuna mtu ataenda post about their spouse or whoever na aseme vile amempenda na nini, but the way your post imeandikwa ni kama ana address huyo mtu, not the audience. Na nikauliza hizi vitu zote sumwambie tu, because clear nika unaongea na yeye,
asome kwa story badala uende hivyo sumwambie,
because it wasn't, unajua naweza kuja nikwambie about, I can come and tell you about my spouse, but I'm talking to you, that's different. But if I'm talking to her alafu naiweka online, sasa
ni zile za if you know you took my pen and I know who took my pen but I feel the need of announcing if you know you took my pen. Okay. So I love that we started by saying different seasons. So there are, and then different times call for different things. When you guys were starting, this is how the season were. Hakukuwa na watoto. It was still healthy. Sai kumekamwa toi. What are some of the things that need, like you guys have changed? Najua we si expert, from your experience, from the 9 years you've been together.
I would say tume mature. Tume mature. I think when we were early in the marriage, it was rainbows and butterflies kind of love, and it was appropriate for that time. But watu wakikuja vile tu ulisema, it becomes need, like we need this in the house, ama we need this in the family, ama we need this in the relationship. Someone has to do it. So there's a maturity of coming together and saying, okay, mi nitafanya hii, we fanya hii, so that the marriage works. I like what you said, that there's a point mnafu kuwa partners. So for the marriage to work, kila mtu lazima achukue their own share of responsibility and all that kind of thing. So what that has done to us is tumehafu kuwa very intentional. All right? The more responsibilities in the form of children zinakuwa mob, the more you have to be intentional in how things happen. Mkiwa wawili, a lot of things can slide and you'll be okay. But once watu wao wamekuja, mnaweza pata mmejisahau.
That's true.
Mnaweza pata you focus so much on parenting and the marriage is not struggling. So there has to be that intentional aspect whereby you make plans and you say every Friday lazima tuende tukunywe chai. And you make plans for it, So for us, I would say that as the years has progressed, the intentionality may have kukua more. Like we actually sit and plan. Hakuna that randomness we used to have. Because right now mnaweza kwa random pate mlisahau mtoichu ama kitu kai hiyo, So you actually have to plan for things.
Can we say that's also an aspect of a healthy, like being intentional?
You have to be intentional.
And especially where both teams are ready to be intentional. Because kuna ile side ingine.
Good. Actually, I love that. Because utapatanga, sometimes when the relationship is struggling, utapata one person is more intentional than the other.
That's it.
So mwingine ni kama anavuta the whole thing, and that's usually a problem.
That's not a healthy one.
It's not healthy.
Because why is it always me sacrificing? Why is it always me telling? Why is it always me?
Exactly. And no matter what a good person, how good you are as a person, eventually utachoka. Utachoka tu. So lazima meet halfway na mseme, okay, let's all put effort in this thing. And I usually say there are 3 people in a relationship or in a marriage, for the context of those who are married. There's Celes, there's Njugush, and then there's the two of you, the union itself, So if you don't take care of the union, eventually the two of you will struggle. But if you take care of the union, it takes care of you. So you have to remember the third person, which watu wengi usahau.
But it becomes the more mnaendelea tu mkipanuka, the more inaendelea tu mkiwafaa. Because initially we were just this way. Now we have one, then we have two. So we have to make effort for this. Okay. So now we have, I don't know how you feel, and I love that both of us are in this social media space with our partners. kuna hiyo yenye umesema mtu alikuja tu akacomment akasema ai kwani siku hizi umpost. I consider your relationship very healthy because I know how 9 years in that space it is not easy. Like everyone has an opinion to that relationship because we are a community. Of course you owe them. We are a community. So akiamka leo akwambia kwa nini leo Soila ama why is it that you guys you've not told us about it? I'd like to ask for you now, for you and your partner, kwa hiyo space. Ni nini ushai feel like the most challenging bit being in that open space? I love that this space is like for us this our careers zinatusaidia ku grow, zinatusaidia in whatever, but kuna hizo challenges you feel as much as we are healthy. Kuna tu challenge moja mbili katis.
I think I would say for us it's the demand to be consistent. Unajua ukiwa on social media mnaambiwa consistency, you have to be consistent. Usipokuwa consistent, YouTube algorithms sijui itafanya nini, alafu your views will go down. But for us we found that it has been impractical for us to be consistent throughout. Actually ukiangalia our channel uta notice sometimes we go for periods of weeks hatuja post.
Mimi nilipotea 7 months.
Unaona? And people will say hawakwangi consistent, hawakwangi hivi, but they don't understand that sometimes you actually needed that 7 months so that you can come back and be healthy and support them and actually offer them what they love to get from you. So I think as a creator that has been our struggle. They need to be consistent, and people will come and say you are saying mmetutupa, mmetusahau, and there are those who understand. There are those who will say you take all the time you need because you know that when you come back you'll be fresh. But there are those who will be very judgmental because they don't understand. Hawaelewi tu unawezaje tu kosa kupost throughout the month. But for us it is actually, we made peace with it. Tulisema they don't all have to understand, but every once in a while we figure out, we realize we have to take this break for the sake of the marriage, for the sake of the family. If we don't, the fatigue of it ndio actually itaanza kufanya tukue na issues. And we'll end up not being helpful even to the audience at the end of the day.
That's true. I think maybe most of this audience hawaelewi kazi yetu ni kama daktari, kazi yetu ni kama mwalimu. The same way you people in your careers have leave days, off days. We also need to get those spaces. Paternity leave. I mean, maternity leave. Hata sisi like hii ni kazi, hii ni ofisi. So you also need 1 or 2, maybe a month nachukua break. We are not saying we are going to be at we come in when you want. Of course we'll give you a heads up. We are taking a break for the next nini. But tueleweni, hii ni ofisi, lazima tuchukue, kuna burnout times, lazima to take a break. Even as we want to have a healthy relationship between me and my audience. So
exactly.
So we must take these rest days. And now aside from spouses and relationships, aside from spouses, we have healthy relationship between families. You see, we have
family members,
we have parents, siblings, we have in-laws, we have all these relationships that are around us that maybe kuna mse ana feel mi sina spouse, mi sina lover, sina nini. How some families are toxic, and that's why I'm saying we know all these things about toxic. Like we know about the bad side. It's always hard kupata information about the good, the healthy. About the bad ones, hey, hiyo tunajua hapa. Hiyo ziko hapa, quick fast. Maybe some of the aspects, the family healthy ones, for those who have families, for those who have their parents. Hizo tu, kidogo tu. As we wind up, because you're a family man, lazima ninge touch hapo for family.
So for me, this is actually, sijui niseme, okay, you can read books and all that, which we do, but there's that organic knowledge that you get from experience. Now, experience yangu na my wife is very different because I'm an only child. So me, I grew up sikuwa na fight na watu.
Nishamhurumia.
I was not, you know, I was not conflicting with people, and of course every once in a while I would go live with my cousins and all that. So kulikuwa na hiyo social aspect, but majority of the time I'm by myself.
You're an introvert?
Actually, I'm an introvert. A lot of people don't know because they see me on camera, so they think I'm like this all the time.
Wow.
But I'm an introvert actually.
And
but
she's
also,
an extro.
She's an extrovert.
High five.
But it also depends with the crowd. If I'm in the right crowd, I'll be very hyper and all that. Mm-hmm. How, on the other hand, grew up in a family of 5 kids. You know, so sometimes I see my kids, the firstborn is 5, the other one is 3. I see them fighting, and they're fighting over the most. I'm like, munapigania aje?
Useless things.
And her, she's so at peace because she's like, sijali. Those are things we used to experience.
Siblings.
And I'm like, why? I mean, you guys, you are siblings. Just get along. Easy kitu ya kupigania. So I think for me, I'm learning on the job.
Now, that's a very healthy relationship right there.
You're
kupigana, that's a very healthy one.
Me, squeezy ni me accept. Pari ilikuwa inanibo. I'm like, sasa huyu ameacha toy yake anaenda kupigania. I'm like, see, you have yours. Why are you fighting for this one? You know, and apparently it's not that it stops, just that as they grow, they continue, but now they're
Different
fighting
levels.
for bigger things.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So it's something I'm learning on the job, but what I would say is children learn from their parents. You know, they'll never know how to solve conflicts unless they see how us adults in the house solve conflicts. They'll never know how to love each other unless they see us loving each other. Now, unfortunately, as you mentioned, not all of us grew up in that kind of household. Kuna wale tuli grow up na toxic parents.
Yeah.
So we don't know what it is to do that. But I would say if you can learn to start by yourself. I was just talking to her earlier before we started shooting, and I was saying, we usually tell people, love others as you love yourself. Now, that's good. But if you leave it there, I think it's very dangerous because some people don't know how to love themselves. Some people despise themselves, they hate themselves, they dislike themselves, but they think it's love. And you know, we tend to treat people the way we treat ourselves. So coming into, I'm so judgmental on myself, I make a mistake and I beat myself down so much. That's what I will do to the people around me. Because that's my first point of contact as far as loving myself is concerned. So there has to be an overhaul of how exactly loving yourself looks like. And I think for me, that's where, as a believer, it makes sense to me because nimekam kulan love is, there's this conversation about is love a choice, is love a feeling? But there has to be a point whereby we go beyond those questions and realize that, first of all, love is a nature to begin with. Without the nature, you'll not make the right choice or have the right feelings. So you have to have the nature, the right nature first, so that you can make the choices of love and you can have the feelings of love by having the nature of it first.
Wow.
And that's something that only God offers. So I believe that as a family, if you can have a way of just ensuring that God is the foundation of your family, it becomes easier. He detects how you love each other, how you guys get along with one another, and vitu kama hizo. So that has been my experience, at least. Yeah.
I love that you've brought in God, because pia kwa hizi relationships, I feel like sometimes you just need him. I feel like he makes a lot of these things easier, because venye umesema kuna nature, kuna this strange thing that is happening, kuna this new thing that is so wild that, so that's why during my itara, sorry guys, itara ni ile yenye before you get married, the lady is taken to the husband's side, and then these women give you some sort of advice, because you're getting into a space that is very new,
very foreign.
Very foreign. You don't know, like you only know you love this guy, and that's it. So these women walikuwa zile za Selena, itabidi uweke Mungu karibu. Let me tell you, I didn't know. I didn't know akisema weke Mungu karibu was what. Hey, down the line, utaweka huyo Mungu karibu. You will know what they meant. So I love that we bring your aspect here, God. And I feel like when we all, okay, Pauline tunaenda your side, lakini when you all know what the word says ama nini, both of you, kuna venye tu kutakuwa na some level of respect.
Yeah.
Kuna venye tu kutakuwa na healthy, tuseme, healthy relationship.
Exactly.
Because you all know the word, you all know what the word says. If you're choosing to go by what the word says, for sure, hakutakuwa na a lot of
friction.
Exactly.
And you know what that does is the moment God is in the picture, it's no longer my point of view or your point of view. So I'm not trying to bring you to my side. You're also not trying to bring me to your side.
Yes.
We are all subscribing to a neutral point of view. So hakuna ati I'm right and you are wrong or you are right and I'm wrong. So si wote tuna meet katikati. And God does not favor you or me. He favors himself. So as long as both of us are on his side, tunajua, it becomes easy.
Yeah.
It becomes easier. So
I think there's something neza add-on imekaa baadaye. Hiyo ya God, benye tu niliambiwa na sikujua, hata wewe hiyo siku moja tu utajua. That's all I can say for now. I think something else to add on as we wind up, communication kwa relationship. You can tell whether it's a healthy or because communication is where we struggle in. Guys, chip in kwa hii relationship, kwa hii discussion because I feel like I'm also part of this. So good communication in a relation can tell you whether it's a healthy, because communicating is the hardest thing in relationship.
Communication is the foundation, because if you struggle with communication, finances it suffer, sex life it suffer, even agreeing on things as simple as
the tiniest things,
like who does some house chores.
Utanipitisha soko, alafu tuende kwa nini tusiende hivi?
Bas, you know, so you're right. You're actually right. It carries almost everything else. And
I think that's it from me today, Curtis. That's it.
Can I ask a question? You mentioned something and I got curious. Ulisema wewe ukukatiwa.
Mimi sikukatiwa.
So
sidhani nilikatiwa.
Would you say, because I know Njugush is a funny guy, he's a comedian, he has a sense of humor. Would you say that comedy aspect is what drew you to him?
Oh yes. The fact that I was enjoying spending time with him, laughing throughout, like the fact that ningeka hivi nisemebedhea kwa pibu nimshtue ni nini kaka naye. Spending so much time with him. I mean, nitajipata tu umeingia box ya uchali. Right now mnaanza kuongelea watoto wangapi. Hakukuuliza kitu, but you are enjoying the time you are spending with this person. So every time you are with him, you will either laugh, mwende mkakule mayai pasua mama mayai choma mkicheka. You are enjoying each other's company. I mean, unangoja tena kuambiwa wewe ni unakafiti. Ushaulizwa watoto wangapi, what are you waiting for? So that for sure, that's why kuna mimi nasemanga akichekeshwa sana na ogopa. Ukiona anachekeshwa sana na kina Brayo na kina Kevo, be careful. But for sure that
I love that, because I think that's being authentic. Because I think Charlie akishakuwa na ile mindset, lazima nikatie udem. Kwanza unde ulo dem kila mtu anataka na ingi box. As a guy unaingia ile pressure ya kwanza, you start promising things you will not deliver. You know, you start becoming this unrealistic guy.
Then when you get into a relationship, it's not healthy.
It's not healthy because you are performing. You aren't being yourself.
And then for him, he tells me hajui kukatia. He tells me for sure. Mimi najua tu kuchekeshana. So he did what
he was true to himself.
Yes, mimi sijui kukatia. Ati nikuja na mistari ati ni aje. And then me on the other hand, mtu ananikatia. Guy, nikikuona tu hivyo unanikatia. So I'd rather see it, watch it flow. Isikuwe zile za manzele so unakaa shwali. For me that is not healthy. Ata perform for those few days ukiingia box unaanza kuona true colors. So thank you for that question.
It was
And thank you for coming. Do you have any other question?
Thank you for having me. Swali ni mingi lakini acha tutapanga part 2.
Nitakuja. But thank you so much, Curtis. Thank you so much for coming even with your wife. I appreciate and I admire you guys so much.
Thank you.
You guys are doing such a good job.
Thank you.
Tungekuwa tunaweza kufanya hivyo na mtu wangu. Sijui.
But simnafanya.
Like tunaketi tunaongea.
But I see your channel. What are you saying?
But about relationship, like I feel like sisi we are just storytellers. But I love how you guys are very authentic. You're not painting a picture for love is like this. it's not a bed of roses always. So there are ups, downs, ups, downs. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming. I'm happy to have you. Well. Next time I think I'll have her.
You should.
Nisikie sa story yake on the other side how it is.
Na hiyo conversation haitaisha.
Yeah, yake tutaslap chakwa zile za high five.
Mtaendanga tu.
Because we know again about this other side ya kuwa woman, a mom, a wife, a what, a content creator.
Yeah.
It's hectic, yeah. But thank you so much, Curtis.
Shukran.
It was nice to have you.
Shukran.
Asante sana. Thank you guys for watching. Happy Valentine's again from us. I hope you enjoyed the episode. So share, comment, like, and please follow his channel as well. I'm going to give his details upper. Watch. Kwanza relationship matters. These guys are just the best. Thank you so much. And there's a poster I saw. There's a tour you're doing.
Oh.
You can give me that poster as well. I plug it in here. Yes.
All right.
Guys you can see which one is near. Umesahau uko na
No, because your poster ni ya inaenda 2 days before Valentine's.
Itakuwa ishapita.
No, the event is on Valentine's, the day itself.
Yeah, last minute buyers wanapanga wengi sana.
Sawa.
Yeah, so hata wakikuja tu wawili.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, but thank you guys. See you next week. Bye-bye.